And we are green.
And we're live?
We're live. We are live.
Hey, guys.
And I don't know if you can see us on mic, if you're logged in where you can actually see it to where we're going to be up.
I will check in a second. I'm on our channel, so...
Oh, cool.
Just so you guys know, who's listening to the audio, we are both remote locations. We've had some technical difficulties tonight trying to get up and running.
Yeah.
But we finally made it.
Anyway, we are just to introduce ourselves. We're beer drinkers with a Bible fetish. So
we are live. We look good too. We're
all
good.
right, you got us live. All right, so he's got us live. So
Yep.
we're up and running. Yeah, we've had a lot of technical difficulties. I'm up here in Washington right now, in Newport, Washington. This is my future son-in-law, David. If you want to talk and introduce yourself, you got to put this up by your mouth, by the way.
All right. Yeah, my name's David, future son-in-law.
Yeah.
Great introduction.
So, they just had a baby. My son-in-law, future son-in-law here, and my daughter. They just had a baby recently, so which is awesome. I'm a new grandpa. I think Mike knows that because he was making fun of me the other day.
Grandpa, yay!
Exactly. So anyway, we're gonna drink a couple beers tonight and rate those, and then we got some local ones up here. What'd you get, Mike?
Oh, unfortunately, I didn't have time to run to the store, so I had to go with what was home. So one of the guys from our men's group, he's given us the great Coors Banquet.
Oh my God, you're gonna do Coors? Really?
Hey,
Coors?
Somebody did Rolling Rock the other night on the show, so you want to criticize me for Coors Banquet?
Hey,
I mean,
it's Coors Banquet, dude. Really? Come on. Okay, this is what we got.
It's one step above Rolling Rock. All right.
We have an Irish Death beer here.
Ooh,
If you guys
I'm actually
can
kind of jealous of that.
It's a dark, smooth ale. Let's see. You read that alcohol content. It's a 7.0 alcohol. I got a big-ass bottle here, so we're going to share this and pour it.
Nice.
Then we have another one to try after this. This is a local brewery. Where was this one from?
That's from Ellensburg, Washington. Central Washington. Right
Central
there.
Washington?
Yep.
Okay.
Nice.
So it looked pretty good.
Very
Let's pop these babies open.
All right.
All right. Ooh, that's dark.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And Mike with his...
Did you use a screwdriver to open that up?
No, we actually used a real bottle opener.
Oh, you didn't use the manly one there, Jeff?
I could have flipped it sideways and done it that way, I
There
suppose.
you go. I figured. Use your sandal or something.
It's cold up here, dude.
Oh.
I'm in Washington. It's getting cold.
Oh, is Grandpa getting old and cold? Does he need to start wearing long sleeves now?
Dude, I'm from Vegas. What do you expect?
Oh, excuses, my friend.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you
Let's
got the sound effects?
Aha! Yeah, see? I still have the sound effects board going.
Good. Well,
Favorites?
cheers.
Cheers.
That sound effect was perfect for right when I was taking my sip of Coors Banquet.
That goes along with Coors, dude.
Hey, believe it or not, Coors Banquet was the very first beer that I tried when I was 18 years old on a snowboard trip.
Was Coors. Wait a minute.
Coors Banquet.
Wait a minute. You drank your first beer at 18?
Yep.
18.
Yep.
Dude, did your dad never give you any beers or any buddies before that?
They always had them in the house. I just didn't care. Just didn't have an interest.
I thought you were a rebel, man.
I was. I rode a skateboard and a snowboard in the 90s.
Yeah, but rebels drink beer.
Yeah, people who were fat and lazy drank beer.
Come on, bro. Should have been drinking beer. Cheers again.
Yeah. Could have. But now I remember why I didn't like Coors Banquet. It was my first beer.
Now you remember why you don't like it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's going to get one of those ratings tonight, is it?
Oh, it's watery. I think Coors Light actually might be a little bit better than Coors Banquet.
At least it's not Coors Light.
No. Coors Light I think is a step above Coors Banquet.
Yeah. Yeah, probably is, actually.
Yeah, it's a good palate.
I don't know if I'm going to start downgrading Coors Light when I'm drinking this.
Although I do have a buddy that drinks that Coors Banquet stuff all the time, and I don't know why he does or what's up with that.
Yeah, that same friend who you drank it is the one who left it at my house at a party.
Who did?
Our same buddy, the guy who doesn't show up to the gym, who says he's going to be at the gym all the time.
Oh, he's the one that left that crap there?
Oh, yep. He brought me he came over the other night and he brought me another 12-pack of it, and I told him to take it home. I'm like, I still got your 30-pack in the fridge.
He's a PBR kind of guy anyway, so I'm surprised he even brought that crap over.
I think this is what he gifts people now. Just like our other friend who gifts us Bush all the time.
Yeah, we do. We have a friend that brings us Bush all the time, dude. That's the shittiest beer in the world, and he loves it.
Natty Light.
That's like Natty Light. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just crap beer.
I think Bush is actually better than Natty Light.
13 of those in a beer funnel once.
13 Natty Lights?
I think they're 1% alcohol.
It probably
I was
is.
going to say, did you get buzzed after drinking that?
Now, how old were you when you had your first beer?
Oh, man. 16.
16?
Yeah.
See, Mike, there you go. I think I was probably...
Wow, you're really going to... 16 to 18?
I think I was probably like 8.
8? Jeez.
Yeah. Camping trip with Dad. He forgot, like, sodas and everything for me, and all he had was a cooler of beer. And he goes, well, son, I guess it's time to start drinking beer.
What beer was that?
Bud Light, actually.
That was my first beer as well.
Bud Light, there you go.
How long
And
did it
you were
take you to
criticizing
drink
me for Coors Banquet being my first beer when y'all both drank Bud Light?
Dude, I was 8 years old.
Oh.
Like I had a choice.
Oh,
can or
excuses.
Cans.
Okay.
Mine was cans. It was out on a camping trip, so it was cans.
Please tell me you had a bottle.
Mine was bottle. Absolutely.
There we
You
go.
went
At least we
fancy
all have
then.
something different.
Yeah.
Hey, when I was 16, we used to go pick up Molson Ale. That was like our beer of choice. Molson Ale when I was 16.
We talk about that all the time.
What's that?
We talk about that all the time.
Oh, man, Molson Ale's good stuff. Hey, anyway, we want to talk about a couple subjects tonight. You want to hit that one news article, Mike, about Aretha Franklin? Because it kind of goes into what we wanted to talk about tonight.
You know, I was actually going to segue our talk of first beer into the topic tonight. So the topic tonight, guys, we wanted to just kind of talk about fatherhood.
Yeah.
We got a new father. I'm a new father. I mean, I'm 7-8 months into this thing. You're a couple weeks. And
you're very varsity compared to me.
Yeah.
and then Jeff, of course, is he's the varsity. I would say like freshman team on my end. I haven't even made JV yet, but Jeff over here, he's the varsity player, probably the professional because he's moved into grandpa stage. So, but I mean, I think the topic of our first beer, right? Like fathers, that's going to be an issue. So, but we kind of want to just. I know we have some topics to talk about, but mainly just talking about fatherhood tonight, like. What's it like to be a new father? What's it like to be a new grandfather? Kind of the different emotions of like, this time last year, I didn't have a kid. My current wife was pregnant, but I didn't have a baby. For you, David, a few weeks ago, you didn't even have a baby. So it's like, we kind of want to talk like what that emotion's like as a guy. And all of a sudden, now you're responsible for this thing that's a life, that's a baby, that's a human.
Yeah.
And it's like, I could kill this thing if I'm not careful. Like, it's crazy thought. I mean, initially, I would say my first thought on fatherhood since becoming a dad in the first months, I don't understand deadbeat fathers. I don't get absent like guys who aren't there, who aren't around. Like, I hate the fact that I have to spend nights doing homework or nights away from my daughter when I don't even see her for an hour. Like, that's torture to me. And to know that there's guys out there that just don't care. And it's like, I don't understand the mindset of a man who can do that to a child, especially their own. But that's just kind of an initial thought on the negative side. But anyway, I don't want to ramble. You guys.
Last week, my wife and I were talking about that because, I do the volunteer with search and rescue. And there was that case, if you're from Vegas, where we had that search of the mom with the 2-year-old. That did Sunset Park. She pretended that he took off or some crap like that when in reality her and her boyfriend had killed this 2-year-old and set him out by Lake Mead. I mean, kind of negative thing to talk about, but it kind of goes along with what you're saying, Mike. How can you do something like that to your own child? I don't get it. I just don't get that at all, And working that case was pretty depressing, but still, it was when I saw that end of it, it's like, how does a mom do that? How does, the father's upset. He's in Texas, and he was kind of away from the child and not involved in this boy's life either. How do you do that? I don't understand. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it's
almost
crazy.
A mental illness thing almost. I don't know.
Yeah.
That chemical connection ever happens with them and that kid or something.
Yeah.
I'm not real sure.
So it's amazing to me how a parent can do that, a mom can do that, and then the dad run away, and that was a thing that with the Aretha Franklin, this pastor, he made a political stance or made a political statement up there, and he was targeting black families and everything, but this applies to all. I don't care what color you are, it applies to all of them. He was talking about deadbeat dads and running away, and of course, it wasn't the right pulpit to get up there and talk about that, probably at a funeral, but nonetheless, that's what he was saying. And what was amazing is the women that were watching this didn't agree. They didn't agree with him. Not just that it wasn't the right place to say it, but they didn't agree with that. They think that moms could just raise babies on their own. And I don't agree with that. I don't. And, Mike and I have talked about that. How do you think? What do you think about that?
Well, I don't know. You can raise a kid by yourself, I'm sure. There's people doing it, obviously.
But then again, how do you teach?
It's just not. It's not ideal, and
Yeah.
It just you're striving for an average versus maximizing something. I think when you don't have multiple parents there, working from all angles and things like that.
But do you think that a mom could really show a boy manhood, how to be a man?
It's interesting because I was raised by a single mother, so I'm not real sure. I think kind of.
And
there are definitely things you miss out on, and you're with other guys who are raised by their dads, and you're behind the curve on a couple things.
Yeah.
But ironically, they're usually not the physical things like you would think. It's just more of responsibility things.
But did you find because I was raised by a single mom too,
Right.
and I found that I would seek out older men that would mentor me, and I did.
Sure.
There was older men that mentored me that really. They would, there was a guy down the street, and Mike's heard me talk about this guy named George. If I got out of line, this old man would kick my ass, and my mom was okay with that.
Right.
I mean, she was kind of upset about it, but that's kind of the way he was, and I think boys will do that. They'll seek out somebody to mentor them. Did you find yourself doing the same thing?
Yeah, I think when you're raised with a single parent, especially a mother, coaches, things like that might have a certain pull with people with two parents. They have a bigger impact on you. You look up to them more because they fill a void in that parental figure. And definitely, I think so.
Yeah. And that's where it comes in, though, that I think a mom can't really raise a boy on her own, especially isolated.
No, and I think a good single mom recognizes that and tries to get their kid out to do sports, to be with these other, and that was my example. I was always working and working for people I was, set up to do jobs for and things like that. So.
And I want to clarify one thing for single mothers. The one thing I've understand is just watching my wife be a stay-at-home mom. I don't understand how a single mom does it.
Right. That's what I've thought of since having a kid.
Right?
It's a lot of work, isn't it?
It's hard enough being I just work and she stays home, and I see the struggle that we have.
Right.
I don't want this discussion to go anywhere near discrediting single mothers. I know we've clarified before, but the jobs a single mother does, I don't put any of the when I think of a deadbeat dad, I put all of that on the father. I don't put that on the mother. The mother is left with what I can only imagine is an unimaginable task. How do you raise a child, by yourself without the support of another, anybody, just by yourself, and to be able to do that successfully is an amazing feat in and of itself. And so I think for me, and I just want for people listening, is the discussion's more toward the dads who just take off.
Well, I think David put it right in that a mother that recognizes that, especially raising a boy. Yeah. That they need that other influence in there will put them in sports, have the coach, like my mom with George down the street that would, if I got out of line would kick my ass and stuff like that. It would, I think a good single mom can recognize that a boy needs that influence, a good influence.
Yeah.
A strong male figure.
A strong male figure, exactly.
Yeah, and that's probably the majority of the time, I would say. Otherwise, everyone who's raised by a single parent would just be, have nothing for themselves, and that's not the case. But I don't know how the people could walk out. I don't know how they do it. It's I don't know. I don't know how any single parent could do anything like that and stay hopeful when you're kind of just gonna have to be in almost in poverty for the rest of your life, honestly, I think. Because you can't go out and work that, or you have to, leave your kid at a daycare, which no parent really wants to do that, I don't think.
Yeah.
That's not the first choice, I wouldn't think. So, anyway. Thoughts on that?
No, and even like two-parent, like working in that dynamic of daycare and raising the kid, like that's a whole other dynamic that, is so prevalent in our culture today. I mean, we have a ton of two-parent homes where it's like everyone's working to struggle to provide for their children. And I'm not discrediting that at all, because that's an amazing thing, just to sacrifice that time away from a kid. Like, I know we're fortunate right now that, my wife gets to stay home, but I understand that's a fortunate place to be, because that is not where the majority of people are. Because it's like you're still losing that time with that child, just being in daycare or having to put them somewhere. And, that's something we've talked about as a couple, like if my wife ever wants to go back to work, or what that would look like.
Right.
Because it is time away from that kid that we do see as valuable, and it's the struggles.
You guys have kind of planned that too, where she's going to stay home for quite a while too.
Yeah, the day we found out, I got the spreadsheets out in Excel and started moving numbers around. That was my reaction to it all. And so we found out how much it'll cost for her time off, and when she could go back to work, how often, and so.
That sounds like something you'd do, Mike.
Oh, I did the exact same thing when I said that.
I don't know,
like all last year. It was projecting out like cash flows and budgets and trying to find money and knowing it was going to be tight, but it was like, you know what, we're going to make it work for as long as she wants to stay home. If she wants to go back to work, and that's what I've told her, it's like, you can go back to work. Like, going back to work is the easy part, because the money comes in, then we can afford everything and daycare and whatever. Like, that's the easy way for us in our situation. Go back to work. That's fine. We can easily.
Good luck with that.
But, I don't know, like, part of me, one of the guys I've listened to a lot online,
Good luck with that.
Oh,
he talks about, he talks about, for guys, he gave this lecture where he basically was like, for guys, what they need to do is assume more responsibility. Like, if there's something that comes that's difficult and hard and it's going to add more responsibility, say yes. Just start adding on, because you're going to watch the progression of your growth as a man. And he was speaking mainly to men, so that's why it was addressed this way. But he's like, just say yes to more responsibility. Take it on and watch how much you'll persevere. And so for part of like this whole thing was like, okay, this is going to be a challenge. Like, this is going to be really hard, and it's not going to be easy. But part it's like, what's it going to do to me? Like, how's it going to push me and challenge me as a father to do more? Because I don't want my wife to go back to work. And if she goes back to work, I want it just to be because something she wants to do, not because she needs to do it. But
it's kind of amazing, Mike. I remember, going back on you, I remember a little over a year ago when you were going through some challenges, and your biggest challenge was your car breaking down like 3 times. Do you remember that?
My transmission in that freaking Camry just kept breaking. It broke twice in the same place, in the same hill in California, coming back.
Yeah, but still,
just get more debt. Just get a loan and get a new car. It's so worth it.
But to you, I remember that was like Mike's biggest challenge back then. And I just remember sitting there thinking, after being a dad and family and everything, going, you don't even have a clue what a challenge is yet. But I went along with it, and everything was like, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's a challenge, because at the time, that was a big challenge for you. Yeah. Do you remember all that?
Oh, yeah, no, it sucked. Like, being without a car and then having to get it fixed, and then we go through the warranty process and the car being delayed because you got to deal with the company. And, and I was provided for it throughout the entire process. So it was just, the second time around was more annoyance. The first time around sucked.
But for you, that was a major challenge in your life. And then later on, you told me about Corey, and then you told me, when she was pregnant, and I'm going, you don't even know what you're in for, dude. I mean, this is what I'm thinking in my head, going, you have no clue. But I still remember the car thing, and then when Eliza came along, and she's in the challenges, then it was like, wow, now you're getting some challenges. Now you see what life's really about.
Yeah.
So, and Mike's done great.
Yeah, you definitely learn a lot. It's a lot of growing. It's nothing like you think. It's nothing like you imagine. I don't know. I think the most enjoyable part about having a kid is watching how quickly they learn, watching how quickly they grow, watching how quickly they understand basic things. Like I remember, oh gosh, 4 or 5 months in, she started making her sounds. My daughter did, and she was understanding the concept of conversation. So what happened is Mom and I would be talking, and then she would just go, like trying to interject. And then like when we'd both stop, we'd look at her, and then she would just make sounds. And then she would stop and look at us like, okay, your turn. And it was just that development of like her understanding the concept of conversation, right? Like you never think about where do we learn about stopping to talk and letting someone else talk, and how does that play out?
Mm-hmm.
And here I'm watching like a baby at like 4 or 5 months understanding that concept. And it wasn't even me, like my wife pointed out, because she's a teacher, so she has that, she's gone to school for all the development of a baby and whatnot, but she's like, look, and she would point it out, and I was like, oh my Lord, she's not even like 6 months old, and she already is learning the concept of conversation. And it's one of the most humbling things that you're like, that's crazy. Like I was that, like we were all that young when we were learning those concepts that we don't even think about. Like it's just something normal in everyday life. But at the time, you know, when you're witnessing it, you're like, wow, that's crazy that we learned that so young.
So we were looking it up today too with baby Aspen here. We're sitting there looking it up on eyesight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking it up on see when, you know, because you hear that a baby can't really see when they're born.
Right.
And
it starts at like 3 or like 12 inches and then 18 inches.
Yeah,
and
within
3 feet, like
yeah, they're near sight to long sight.
Yeah, exactly. At a 1 month, they have about 12 inches.
Right.
And that's
of eyesight.
Yeah, 12 inches of eyesight, and that's it. And everything else is like blurs and shadows after that.
Yeah.
So we're sitting there, you know, listening to that, and or I was reading that, and they don't really have three-dimensional eyesight until like 4 months.
Yeah. That's different.
No, we discovered with Eliza what we would do, and here's a recommendation for you. On our changing table, right above it, there was like a little shelf, and we would post black and white images, like checkerboards or just simple, nothing crazy or complex, but just simple black and white images. And it was amazing to watch her when she could recognize those.
Interesting.
You know, and it's like as she got to that 2-3 feet range where she could see it, she would lay on her changing table looking up and see those black and white images.
Yeah, one of the freebies we get at the hospital was a little book just like that. Just black and white, 2-dimensional,
interesting,
3-dimensional.
So they actually gave you something like that.
Yeah, so it's obviously proven something, you know, in study.
You know, it's amazing because when my kids were little, we didn't know any of this stuff. We just told, they can't see, and you don't know when, and you know, you just sit and play with them, and eventually they get up and walk and talk, and you know, because right now, you know, when they're little, all they do is, you know, poop, eat, and sleep.
Oh yeah, and learn everything constantly. Actually,
right. No, that black and white book. We actually got a black and white book that was just flat images, and it was like her favorite thing. Like we just set it in front of her face, you know, within that 12 to 18 inches during that time frame, and she'd just stare at it because it was something she could focus on because it's hard lines and it's just 2 colors and it's flat. So if they gave that to you, that's actually kind of cool. Like,
and that's fatherhood. You found yourself caring about black and white image books. And it's just, you're looking at a square and you're just so excited about it. Yeah, it is interesting.
And then when they sit, like when their eyes light up and they recognize something there, you're even more excited. You're like, I'm excited about a little baby lighting up with joy about this image on a piece of paper. That's just something that I could have probably drawn myself.
Right.
That you're like, wow, I was artistic enough to do that. And it's the most amazing thing on the face of it. Like stick figures are probably something they would enjoy. Just a black Sharpie on a white piece of paper.
It's like a cat in a box.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
It's just natural. You buy a cat a toy and you bring a box home and they love it. They forget the toy. They want the box.
That's right.
You know, baby, just a little 2-dimensional.
To keep that in mind, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So
that's
something is simple, just very simple stuff.
Right.
You know, to be a little kid like that, could you imagine?
Well, no.
You don't have to worry about cars breaking or working or...
I think about it all the time. Like, if I could have remembered all these moments, how would it have changed my life?
Right.
Like, thinking about all the things that I'm watching my daughter learn, it's like, it'd be kind of cool to have those memories. Like, when I learned all this stuff, like, that's when I remembered how to have a conversation. That's when I remembered all this little like basic stuff that we take for granted in life.
It's interesting. You talk about fatherhood, and I remember both my kids going and you have to be involved. Like the pastor had said on there, you really do have to be involved in their stuff, whether you enjoy what they're doing or not. You have to be involved.
Yeah.
No matter what. I have 2 kids. I have a son and daughter, and my son got into wrestling, and of course, me being a wrestler and stuff, that was like the most awesome thing.
Yeah.
I became the coach of the school, and of course and continued on after that. After he even was done, because at that point I became.
Did he like that you were the coach, or was he embarrassed that you were the coach?
At first, I think he was embarrassed.
I'm sure.
It was like, oh my God, my dad's going to be my coach, and
yeah,
and because he never really seen me wrestle, so he didn't know.
Okay.
But then when I came in here and started beating the crap out of everybody, and started wrestling again myself and beating the crap out of everybody, he's like, oh, Dad's kind of cool.
Gotcha.
And then Dad became a challenge for him to always try to come up and try to beat me.
Sure.
He never did, but he kept trying. Heather, on the other hand, my daughter, she was into band.
Right.
I'm not into band. Never have been. Never was a band geek. Never did any of that stuff, right? But I would go to every single one of her shows because I knew it made a difference.
Yeah.
I had to be there. So even when she played halftime at the football games, I would show up. And there was times that I could care less about the football game that was going on, high school football. I didn't care. But I would show up just before half, watch her play, go down there, tell her what a great job she did. And, the band was always good.
Right.
And then I'd leave.
Right.
But I was there while she was playing. I always made sure to be there. And I think that's important for a father to do stuff like that, to be present for all their kids and be interested in what they're doing.
Yeah.
You have to be. So... Although I wasn't really in a marching band, but I would still go to all of it. And it was cool to see.
Did you know that about her?
It was about her.
No, not you.
No, I said it was about her, not me.
I know. I asked him if he knew about all the band stuff.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
That I would go or that she was in band?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've talked about that several times.
Yeah. Well, you play guitar.
Yeah, I played band, but I was in band and on the football team, and
so you did both.
Yeah, both sides of my brain work.
Now, how did how did they do that at halftime? Then did you have to?
I was not marching band. No.
Oh, okay,
no.
Okay.
I mean, grade schoolish. Yeah.
Grade school. Okay.
Do all that. So.
Now I remember that when Heather was in elementary school, and we'd go to the elementary school competitions.
Oh, they're garbage.
Starting in exactly.
You can just hear the snare drum, and that's it.
Starting in like 3rd grade, you're just like, oh my God, these kids cannot play.
Right.
But you went there anyway, and you supported, and you cheered, and you did all that stuff. Of course.
For instruments.
Yeah, and then it was like, okay, I gotta go, man. So. It was just, because you'd listen.
All the stuff we have to look forward to.
Yes, it's all the stuff you have to look forward to. But you know what?
That's fine. That's a lot better than other things.
It's still fun. It's so enjoyable to see your kids do that and see them succeed in things. It really is.
Yeah. Well, one thing that scares me about fatherhood, I guess, is I think about what I do on a daily basis now to be a father, and I think about my little baby, and it's like someday he's going to have to get up and get a job and support everything, and it's like, for the weirdest reason, I want to shelter him from that, but it's ironic because that's the reason he's provided for us, because I'm not sheltered, so there's that paradox all the time with him. And
it's part of life, though. They have to learn to do it. Heather and my son Brian, we always joked around with them that at 18 they were getting luggage for their birthday. That was always the ongoing joke. You're going to get luggage, move out, get the hell out.
Right.
At 18, once they could, and they both did. They both moved out. But I think that's part of parenthood, is preparing your kids. That's the major part of it, preparing your kids to be able to do that when they're old enough, to be able to move out and support themselves and do well. And they've both done great.
Yeah.
They both been able to do it, and quickly, unlike a lot of kids nowadays. All these snowflake millennials that, can't do a damn thing, live at home till they're 30 and parents have to sue them to get out. I mean, that's a bunch of...
That's all the parents. That's all the parents' fault.
I agree.
Enabled the kids to do that. You can't just blame the kids.
I do. I agree. I think it's kind of both at this point in time in society. I think it's almost kind of both, but
yeah.
So what generation were you part of? You're the generation that raised millennials, right? So that was your generation that enabled all the millennials?
Yeah, I agree 100% with that.
Hey, my
yeah, they also don't work ever, Generation Xers, by the way.
Here's the thing. Both my kids moved out and they did fine. They both got jobs and they've done well.
Right.
Oh, so what you're saying is it's not generational, it's just bad parenting.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of single mom parenting, personally. And I'm not bagging on single moms. Don't get me that wrong. But I think a lot of that because moms coddle kids more and don't want them moving out. And then you have...
See, the thing that disputes that, though, is all the guys that go and play professional football, because a lot of those guys come from single
that's weird. I was thinking the exact same thing, because I love football.
You look at the NFL, right? Like, you think of it the NFL, right? Like, and of all things, it's mainly black men.
Well, that's the underestimated piece about the single parent thing is, especially as the oldest kid of the single mom, being a man, a boy, you just grow up thinking I have to be twice the man I have to, and provide early and get mom the house, and that's why the football thing works that way, I think. So I don't know, it's hard to say it's a single mom thing. I don't know. And I'll just say this, there's no kids in poverty that stay at home and get kicked out. They want to leave early and they get jobs and they do their thing.
If you look at most of the kids who are coddled, who do all this, they're upper middle class.
Thank you.
It's not lower class. It's not the poverty kids. Like, those are the ones that are grinders, that work, that push, that get out. But you look at the big problem that society talks about when it comes to, quote unquote, the millennial snowflakes.
Sure.
They're upper middle class. They're not. It's not typically people who come from the lower classes. It's people who come from the upper echelon.
Here's
it's
that
like
thing.
Suicide. It's a problem of the rich.
Yes.
Like, when they look at suicide numbers, it's a problem of privilege. It's not a problem of people who come from little means. It's people who have wealth. That's the problem.
You've read that, Mike. Here's that interesting psychology report now where it talks about, asking your baby permission to change its diaper.
Oh, God. Yeah,
so you read that too, Mike.
This gets brought up. This was one lady that got exploited for being
a consent thing. Yeah,
it's consent.
Or these other parents that are raising kids to let them find their own gender as they get older. That's all bullshit. But you look at what you just said. It's that upper middle class that's doing this kind of crap.
Yeah, no mom with a job has the time to care about asking for consent to change a diaper.
They're sleeping. They don't care. Sucks to deal with.
We're talking about you mentioned the football, and most of the players are of color. Most of the football players, and you think of a black woman, a single woman raising a kid. Do you really think they're going to ask their child to change a diaper?
No.
Oh, hell no. They're going to get your ass over here, and I'm changing your damn diaper right now.
Yeah.
Which is the way it should be. As a parent, you're the parent. You tell the children what to do.
Yeah.
You don't sit there and ask permission to do shit.
Yeah. You change that diaper.
What's that?
You change that diaper because you don't want to deal with the diaper rash.
Right. No shit. I mean, it's just... You don't put up with that crap. You just... you're the parent. As a parent... You know what's best for your child. At least I hope you do. You know what's best for your child, so you're telling your child this. You're going to do this.
Right.
I've always said that a lot of parents, today we see this in the past few years, they try to be their kids' friends. They want to be a friend of their child, and I've always said it. You're a parent first, friend second. You always have to be a parent first. When they get old enough and they're an adult, the roles can change. You can now become their friend. And they'll still ask you parental advice because they respect you because you raised them that way.
Yeah. You got to do the work before the play and the foundation before...
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I've seen that in so many parents, they want to be the kids' friends, and that's a bunch of crap. You don't want to... Yeah. No, you're the parent. Be a parent. Always a parent first.
You said it to me a couple times, actually, over the past few years, Jeff. The idea of, as a parent...
Hey. Come on. That was a real one, man. We got to get the good one going here.
There we go. And you kind of alluded to it earlier, as you were talking about it. The role of the parent preparing the child to be able to succeed after the parent is gone.
Yeah.
Like, that should, like, we talk about it in the men's group, right? Like discipleship. The idea of discipleship in a church, you know, is you can bring it up to the idea of a baby, right? Like you start off with baby food, and then you start off with preparing little food, but eventually the ultimate goal in feeding them through the various steps of different types of food is being able to prepare them to prepare food for other people.
Yeah.
And that's the sign that you've done a good job, is can they go out and succeed on their own? And that's kind of like a bar that, like, almost how I kind of approach this idea with my daughter is like, I want her to be prepared to be able to succeed on her own. And looking at the pool of guys that are out there, you know, with the type of parents, I just pray that there's a man out there that, because I want
a shotgun at home? Do you have a shotgun yet?
Oh, believe me, by the time that comes around, there'll be multiple ways to scare the guy.
The best way is to be cleaning it when the boy comes over.
Listen, I think by the time my daughter's 18, I don't think guns are going to be legal, so I don't know if that's going to be an option. So it's going to be a lot of cars that I could run him over with. Like, I think that's what Jeeps, motorcycles, probably have to get a really big pickup truck like a Pro truck, you know, just stuff that I could threaten him with, that I could chase him down, drive over his car with. Something like that.
Well, you know what you do then? You draw like one of those body prints, like the white imprint of somebody in front of your Jeep.
There we go.
And then when you come over and say, hey, lay down right here for a second. I want to see if you fit there. Because the last guy, he like didn't really quite fit. So I want to, maybe I got to draw this a little bigger, a little smaller. Let's make sure you fit in it. Because when I run your ass over, we've already got the imprint.
Oh, and I can always remind him that my friend works for search and rescue, so I know the holes in the desert.
Yeah. That's right.
That they don't look for.
I was going to say, you have a friend with a tractor, let him know that. You know what I mean? I got a 25-minute hole ready for you.
That's right.
Yeah. There's holes dug in the desert. I know where they are. They're already pre-dug.
There's a lot of holes out there. I found quite a few of them out there. There's a lot of holes out in the desert.
Pre-dug, ready?
Pre-dug. Oh, yeah.
Dead serious.
I actually did. I ran. So I'm driving through the desert one day, and I've told Mike about this. I'm driving through the desert. I'm off-roading, right? And I'm going from Tacopa. We were talking about Tacopa a couple weeks ago on our show.
Do you still have that photo somewhere, by the way?
I do.
Good.
I do. Maybe we'll put it on our show sometime, huh? Just so people can see it.
Yeah.
So I'm driving through, trying to take dirt roads all the way back to Vegas. And as I'm going along, I pass by a car about a half mile before. This guy camping. Thought it was kind of weird. He's in the middle of the desert all by himself. And I pull up, and as I'm going along, I see this pile of dirt. And a hole next to it, like perfectly dug to fit a body into. And the pile of dirt next to it. So I get out of my truck, and I'm like, well, this is weird. I mean, it's in the middle of the desert, in the middle of nowhere. You can take roads to it and get to it. You know, somebody can drive a van out there and throw a body into it if they really wanted to. Sure. So I pull out, and I'm taking pictures of it. Well, while I'm taking pictures of it, all of a sudden I realize going, oh, shit, is there somebody around here that could be, like, is there somebody ready to pull up and throw a body in this thing? Because, I mean, it was just too weird. So I'm like, all right, I got to get the hell out of here. And I took off, but I've got these pictures of these things, and there's like the dirt next to it and just ready to dump it in and take off. It was like, wow, just pre-dug holes ready to go.
Yeah, we do live in the desert.
Yeah, we do live in the desert with casinos and everything else, you know.
Yeah.
Better make sure you pay that marker if you pull a marker on one of those casinos because they got holes already dug out there for you, man.
A Red Rock insurance claim.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. I try to find those things too out there. I mean, this was off the beaten path. You'd be done, rotted, leveled, everything. Nobody would ever know you're there.
Yeah, that's what it was for.
So, hey, I'm ready to rate this beer, dude, and grab another beer.
I'm ready.
All right. You got anything besides Coors?
I do.
Okay, you have another one. Good.
After we do this.
Okay, we got Iron Horse Brewery from where? Edinburgh?
No, Ellensburg.
Ellensburg.
Yeah.
From Redneck Town, Washington? Ellensburg.
Yep, Central Washington
University. Is it a redneck town?
No, it's a college town, but...
College town, okay.
Town, sure, yeah.
It's got a cool, you can see the cool label on it here, and I'll pull them up and put them on our site so everybody can see it. Dark Smooth Ale. As an ale, this they're trying to go dark, and as we know, Guinness is an ale too. It's one of my go-tos is Guinness.
Right.
I would probably it's good, so I'm not going to rate it quite like a Guinness, but it is good. I would give this we rate them like a 2 thumbs up
sure.
if they're like the most awesome beer around.
Yeah.
I'm going to probably give this like a 1.5. So how about you? What would you give this one?
Probably 1.
A 1. Only a 1.
Yeah.
Not a dark beer drinker? Or?
That's right.
Oh, not a dark beer
That's
drinker.
right.
Okay.
What are those called where you throw the Baileys into the Guinness?
Oh, Irish car bomb.
People are screaming it, yeah.
Yeah, the car bombs.
Yeah, that ruined it all for me.
Really? The dark beers?
wow.
21 run, car bombs all night.
Oh.
Cottage cheese feeling. No thanks.
Oh.
But, yeah, not bad. I didn't choke on it or anything, so 1 out of 2.
Okay. So you did a 1.
Yeah.
1. I gave it 1.5. How about for the banquet?
Coors Banquet.
Coors Banquet. What can you say about Coors Banquet? But it's
Well,
Coors.
let's see
It's
here.
meant for men in the
it's
Yukon,
brewed,
mining gold.
Rocky Mountain piss water.
it's brewed in Golden, Colorado.
Rocky Mountain piss
100%
water.
Rocky Mountain water since 1873.
Right.
Donkey's been peeing in that water for years.
Please recycle, probably. But
So what's the ABV on that? Does it say?
4.0.
I think they're too embarrassed to put it on here, and I think the government allows them to not put it on here because it's not on here.
Because it's a Coors, that's why.
Yeah.
They really don't put the ABV on there.
No.
Wow.
I know
really
a Coors Light, a Bud Light, they're 1.4. So it's probably a little bit more, like a Budweiser would be.
So it's like probably a 1.7 or 1.8, maybe a 2.
Not 1 point. We're not in Utah.
With Utah, as I found out, it's only with, I think, the beers on tap that have to be below a certain APV. Anything in a bottle, they can actually leave.
Hey, dude, as long as it doesn't make you do this.
Luckily, it didn't.
But out of 2, what is it?
I'm gonna give it
3/4, half, a quarter. Oh my God! It got a rating.
You know what? I'm gonna do 3/4 because I'd probably give Coors Light a 1.
Okay, there you go.
So I'll do a 3/4 on it.
Well, hey, let's grab our second beers.
I like
All
that
right.
then.
What do we got here?
So what do you got?
So,
Ooh, it's in a case.
By the way, we're broadcasting from a remote location that we can't let you know. If we did, we'd have to kill you.
top secret.
Top secret.
Somewhere in the remotes of
Northwest.
Yep.
Northwest
Canada,
Midwest
Idaho.
or flat country.
So
Oh God.
we got bears and coyotes and bobcats and deer walking by. Hey, we had deer walking by the house last night, dude. There was like 3 deer. I came out of here, everybody's yelling, "There's deer out front!" I come out, he's got deer in his front yard.
Hey, what's that beer? Don't be sipping it without telling everyone what it is.
Yeah.
Oh,
Jeez, Louise, man! You crack it open like that, you gotta give everyone a taste.
This is
of
a
what you're cracking
Norlie.
open.
So it's another beer from Washington, but it's not central. It's from right in this area. It's from Spokane, Washington, and it's No Lie, as the locals would call it, which stands for Northern Lights.
Oh, is that what it is?
Ooh.
Yeah.
No lie.
And it's an amber ale by them.
I thought maybe it was like no lee.
No.
This is a no lee beer.
Interesting.
So I
Is
don't
this
even know.
okay? We went to this brewery, right? Did we go to this brewery?
Yeah, that's right.
Is this the one that had the whiskey and stuff out front?
Yeah, so them and Dry Fly Distillery obviously have some sort of partnership or something. Yeah.
Yeah, so we went to this place. They had they were making homemade whiskey, bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
They had I think vodka too. I want to say.
Oh yeah, they do all
Their own
all
stuff?
spirits. Yeah.
Yeah, so they had their own distillery. Plus they have beer.
Yeah.
So it wasn't too bad. We had lunch there. Did we have lunch? We had lunch.
Yep.
Sat out by the river. Nice little brewery. It's a nice,
Yeah.
nice place.
Nice.
So that was last time I was up here. So
Very cool.
we're rating a couple local beers up here.
Cool.
I did this one from the middle of BFE, Washington. If you make it up to it, I'd recommend that. No Lee here. No lie, no Lee.
Lie.
It's an amber ale. What's the ABV on it?
Oh goodness.
I'm sure they got it on here somewhere.
5% flat.
5%. So we have a 7% and a 5%. Apparently the Northwest knows how to drink and Colorado has no idea.
Hey, they've been doing it since 1873, so
right.
you know, I mean, that's something.
Yeah, apparently they don't know how though.
Colorado
it don't
River
matter.
is filthy.
Hey, listen, you can't blame Coors. You got to blame the public for continuing to buy it. Because the Coors wouldn't brew it if people weren't buying it.
That's probably true.
So
yeah, but some people really don't know what beer is supposed to taste like.
Hey, but they keep drinking it in mass.
Yeah.
So
isn't that?
Right.
I think I read somewhere, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Coors is actually the most popular beer in Ireland.
I wouldn't doubt it. There's a reason the largest brewery in Europe, InBev, bought Budweiser.
Right. Yeah, there you go.
Like, there's a reason for that. It's not because they're not selling beer.
Oh yeah, I'm ahead of the curve here. Sorry. What about you? You got a second one ready?
Yeah, what do you got?
I do have a second one. I've got Blue Moon. So another standard, you know.
Isn't that owned by Coors?
I believe they're owned by
Anheuser-Busch.
Yeah. Now.
I thought they bought them.
Yep, Golden, Colorado. So
right. Okay, Coors, so it is owned by it's owned by Coors.
Yeah, but now Blue Moon, it's owned by them, but it's still brewed at their original facility.
Yes.
So, but yeah, they did get bought up.
Because I think it was Blue Moon that actually got sued.
Yeah.
After because they were bought by Coors, and they were calling themselves a microbrewery.
Right.
And somebody filed lawsuit against them saying you're not a microbrewery because you're owned by Coors, but they still brew in smaller batches. They still brew out of the original place. So they end up winning.
They're still a microbrew.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah. They're still, because most of these microbrews have been bought up by the big beer distributions.
Exactly.
Because they need to, sales are down, and people are buying microbrews, so they go out and they buy up these smaller breweries, and then they just add it to their sales. So they still allow them to operate as a microbrew, but they're just paid and distributed by the big guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's still the original people for the most part. I mean, eventually I'm sure these guys all move out, but when you get offered millions of dollars for your company and then you're offered a ridiculous salary to do the same thing you were doing yesterday, it's kind of like, so I'm going to do the same thing tomorrow and for the next 7 years, but you're going to add a bunch of money up front.
You're going to pay me millions of dollars, and then I get to still brew beer, and you're going to pay me millions of dollars to brew beer.
Yeah.
Let me think about that. Yeah, no. Yeah, I'll go ahead and take that deal.
And for whatever reason, I've noticed anyone drinking a Blue Moon in a bar, that's their adventurous day where they're used to drinking a Bud Light or a Coors Light. Now they're what do they call it? Now I'm a draft guy, or I'm
a microbrew
guy, so I'm gonna get a Blue Moon.
Exploring the world.
It is the training wheels of microbrews.
Okay,
for sure.
I gotta ask.
Blue Moon.
I gotta ask because you're up in this area.
Yeah.
How many man buns do you see?
Not here.
Not here. Not in this area.
No. So 2/3 of this state, there's none of that.
So it's all on the west side.
Yeah, which is population heavy, which is
yeah,
but no, really not.
So you don't have the hipsters over here or anything like that.
No, there's no. It just wouldn't fly. How do you wear a hard hat or a beanie with that? You know what I mean?
Well, they managed to get beanies on. You do see that they got the droop beanies and stuff coming behind.
Yeah, the beanies are.
I'm talking a beanie to stay warm because you're logging in a mountain or something.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
not to look
that's what
cool.
you're doing. If you're not studying or living in a building, you're outside.
Mike used to have a man bun.
Oh, well, that's fine.
And I made fun of him. I used to make fun of him all the time.
You could mock me for my bun all you wanted.
Hey, it was fun.
I didn't care.
You don't do man buns, dude.
Oh my gosh.
Well, that's loud. We're being raided, dude. We gotta.
Apparently.
I told you we're in a silent location here. We're underground, like 60 feet here.
If you didn't listen to Alex Jones all day, you wouldn't have to do that.
Hey now. Yeah. Oh, I think we evaded him.
Can't listen to him anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been removed.
You get your paid subscription to Infowars.com.
Oh gosh.
Hey,
no one's gonna pay for that.
We've invited him on. We've invited him onto our show, and he hasn't come on yet.
Oh really?
We've invited. We're still trying to get little Timmy to come on the show.
Yeah. Timmy.
That's the one we want. Yeah.
Mike loves Tim Tebow.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm a huge fan.
Timmy.
God, I don't know. I can't talk about Tim Tebow.
You can't. Mike has many times. Tell us what you think. Tell us how you really feel about him.
You want me to give you my honest opinion?
I just feel like you know, I don't know. Some kids or college football, they don't care. They'll quit. They'll give up a scholarship, which makes me sick. I mean, he basically gave up being a professional. He could have been one, but he just quit playing good and wanted to be on TV. That's what I think. I don't know.
Oh, no. He
just
didn't want to
give likes football. It was just weird to me.
He didn't want to give up being a professional. The NFL realized he couldn't be a professional, and he refused to play any other position other than quarterback.
He could have started on any punt squad.
He could have been a tight end for any team. He could have been a wide receiver. Well, he probably been a halfback or tight end for any team in the league that they wanted.
Yeah.
He could have probably moved to defense. He very easily could have played in the league if he would have changed positions, but he was too big-headed, too egotistical. He's like, no, I'm a starting quarterback in the NFL. No, you weren't.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. What was his dad like? Did his dad tell him he's a quarterback his whole life? Because that could have been it. I don't know.
Oh, gosh. I don't know.
No, his parents were missionaries who were the field.
He got a participation trophy.
No, credit to his parents. His parents were missionaries. Like, they were overseas most of his life, and he achieved, and he went to college, and he graduated. I got nothing against that. But his egotistical, big, fat-headed, I'm holier than thou, and all this crap about him taking a knee to pray, dude, you sucked in the NFL. The reason you're not in the league isn't because you didn't pray. Everyone in the freaking league prays. They do prayer circles after every freaking game that get viewed and shown on TV at least once after every Monday night game. It wasn't because you took a knee and prayed. It was because you sucked. Right. You couldn't play quarterback in the NFL. You were terrible. You played for a Denver Bronco team that had a phenomenal defense and a kicker that could kick a 50-yard or longer field goal because that's as close as you could get the freaking team. Sorry, I have a little bit of a bias.
No, can you tell? Completely agree.
Can you tell that I love the guy?
Yeah.
Mike likes Timmy.
And he does everything in the name of Jesus because he's so holy. God, Lord.
Yeah.
Well, you know that's me. I love fighting. I love UFC, and the way you feel about Timmy is kind of me and John Jones.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So, I don't know about Mike feels about John Jones, but I don't think much of that guy.
Right.
If he stopped doing coke, I think he'd be one of the best fighters on the face of the planet.
At all.
It's his environment.
But see, John Jones tries to come off as holier and holy too.
Right.
Yeah, the Philippians 4:13 across his chest is kind of stupid.
Exactly. So he tries to come off as holier and holy, and then he turns around and acts like a freaking moron.
Well, it's a smart move. I mean, sometimes it is exploited. Let's be honest.
No. People exploit and do that. Our vice president exploits himself as the holiest man on the face of the planet, but he looks like a greasy slime ball.
Yeah.
Nobody's that perfect.
But it's a way to get your foot in the door. So right out the gate, you have a positive, momentum behind you.
As a marketing strategy and a way to make money, I totally understand it. This is America. You are free to make as much money as you can. By all means, go. I'm glad they're getting wealthy and they can do that. As a Christian, I don't like the fact that they're doing it on the name of Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the church should have a front. Like, I think the church in this country should have a problem with people getting rich off the name of Jesus.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
If you want to get rich off your talent, I got no problem with that. If you're talented or God gave you a gift and you can do something, by all means, go out and achieve. I mean, the vast majority of NFL players come from single mothers who raised them in a church, who achieved and will credit God with everything that they did. They're not freaking Tim Tebow. Like, they're not wearing it on their freaking sleeve, which Christ said in Scripture. When you pray, go into the closet and shut the door. And all these people were like,
humility.
Pray in public. Well, did you ever think that maybe it was Jesus trying to get you to read your Bible to see that I don't want you praying in public? Like, that's a thing. Like, that's in Scripture. As Jeff likes to say, those are words in red.
Jimmy!
Like Jesus said. So I don't know. I could rant about people like Tim Tebow because they bother me because they make it all about Jesus and their faith when it had nothing to do with that. It had the simple idea, you suck as a quarterback. Go play halfback or fullback. Go play halfback, fullback. Go play tight end. And you know what? If you would have done those things, heck, and outside of that, Jacksonville offered him a contract to be their starting quarterback and you want to go play for the Jets. I'm sorry. You had the opportunity to be a starting quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and you said no.
In the state where you went to college.
Yeah.
The reason you're in the NFL.
And that was the thing. And then after you failed in New York, you had the nerve to call the Jacksonville Jaguars and said, well, can I come play for you? And the owner rightfully was like, no, I offered you a contract. You didn't want to play for me. Why would I want you to play for me now? And it's like, oh, because you're an out-of-work quarterback and you're looking for a job. No, I'm not going to give you a job because you're desperate. Sorry, we need to move subjects because I'm just getting upset about.
That's what she said.
All the time.
Good luck with that.
I love these sound effects.
So yeah, how do you bring it back? I even forget what the questions were.
Here's what Mike thinks of Tim Tebow.
Yep, because the fact that people think he could play Major League Baseball is an affront to Major League Baseball.
Wasn't he supposed to join like the 51s, or who was it he was going to come and play for eventually?
Well, they didn't want him to play in Vegas, so he wasn't going to play the 51s. But now that they're moving the team to Syracuse, New York, they'll probably move him up there.
Yeah.
Well,
Did you hear that? He may be playing pro ball now. Or it's not really pro ball. It's under that. But I mean,
he's playing Double A, and everyone's like, "Look at how good he is in Double A." Okay, Michael Jordan was able to play Triple A, and he wasn't good enough to like the majors, and he was batting in the 200s in Triple A, like Michael Jordan, right?
Yeah, but Michael Jordan's a stud, dude.
Yeah, Michael Jordan couldn't make the majors. Right. He wasn't good enough because his 200 batting average or whatever it was
wasn't good enough. Yeah,
wasn't good enough. Tim
so
Tebow.
Then how do you explain Russell Wilson? Do you hate him?
You know what?
He's a lot like Tim Tebow if you think about it. But he does play professional baseball, or he could.
Russell actually is a decent quarterback.
Right. So he's got that. Okay.
The New York thing was an exploitation. He went for a money grab. I get it. The difference I think I have between Russell and Tebow is I don't see Russell wearing his faith on his sleeve. Like he doesn't exploit it like Tim does.
Like Tim's big time. I mean, I don't know if you know Tim.
Like Russell does. I don't think Russell exploits it as much as people ask him about it.
Right.
I think is the barrier. Like Russell gets asked about it all the time, right? Like because of the way he lives his life, people are constantly like asking about his faith and how it affects his life. But it's not like he's going out there selling it to make money.
Yeah.
Tim was actively trying to sell his faith.
Right.
And that's what bothered me. He constantly talked about it. He constantly brought it to the forefront. And it's like, dude, you're one of 54 guys, and out of that locker room of 50, I would say 40 of you are Christians. Right. I don't hear about it. I don't hear about it from the other 40.
Well, is that what missions are doing, or missionaries, I should say?
Missionaries go out and they evangelize.
Well, that's
so they'll go to foreign countries. They'll go to that and like assimilate into it, and then explain Christ to the foreign countries. And that's what missionaries do.
Well, that's the thing, is if his parents were missionaries, I mean, he took a missionary approach into the NFL.
Yeah, but he didn't follow biblically the way it should be done either.
Right.
So missionaries do it in a very silent way.
Yeah.
They'll walk in and they'll do it. They don't do it for the fame whatsoever. They do it to go out there and they do it to show people Christ. And they don't. If they get recognition, they don't care. If they do. In fact, most of them would probably prefer not to have any type of recognition.
Right.
Whereas, like, very humble. Whereas, like, Timmy is like, I'm Timmy! Big difference, Like Mike pointed out in the Bible, it says go into your closet and pray in private.
Right.
Yeah. Like, Tim Tebow could have gone to Jacksonville, Florida, where he would have been anonymous, and he would have sucked, and he would have played 16 games, and he would have sold a ton of jerseys. He probably would have played 2 or 3 seasons, even though he sucked, because he would have sold jerseys. He could have gone there, or he could have gone to New York. And he went to New York. Like, why did you go to New York? Oh, because it's New York. Because of your fame. Because you want to build a brand. Because it's all about that. And then right after he went to New York, he got a job with ESPN, working on the SEC network. And then he used the SEC network, working that job, to get a contract with the Mets.
Okay,
But
not only was Timmy doing that, he was doing church tours where he was going around to churches. Because I remember he came through Vegas and spoke at one of the local churches there. Mm. Because a girl I knew that I used to work with a few years ago was talking about, Tim Tebow's going to be in there and he's going to speak. He's going to talk about his faith. He's going to do all this. These churches were paying him to come and speak. Like paying him a lot of money to come and speak.
Well, hold on. Correction. They weren't paying him. It's a donation. It's a quote-unquote donation to his foundation.
Yeah. So they were paying him through his foundation.
So Tim could go around and say, I do free speaking events. No, you don't do free speaking events. Right. People give money to your foundation, which then, once they give a certain dollar amount, then you will go into a speaking engagement.
Yeah.
And then you'll pass the plate to make the money up for the speaking engagement.
And that's what he passed around before you get there.
And that's what he was doing. So he was doing that. It was about money at that point. So his faith became about money.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Mike's getting at. It's
and people are like, oh, but it goes to a foundation. Okay. Big whoop-de-doo. Shouldn't the money go to the church?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. The church had to give money to the foundation that you didn't know about, so you think you're just giving money to the church. Because Tim's like, I'm not taking a dime. We're going to pass the basket. Or the pastor's like, we're passing the basket because Tim's here. Whatever the reason is, And I'm not getting into the prosperity aspect. They're trying to, they're trying to run their churches, and I get that.
Hey. You're getting on prosperity here. We need everybody to go to the site because we're going to build a space shuttle. I never told you about this. Okay.
Space station.
We're going to build a space station. So we have a GoFundMe page.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we started a GoFundMe page. And we need everybody to go to GoFundMe page, Beer Drinkers with a Bible Fetish. Go to this GoFundMe page and donate millions and millions of dollars. Okay. Because what we're going to do, we're going to build a space station closer to God. Okay. Because so we figure when we brew
holy water.
We're going to brew holy water there. It tastes like beer, but we're going to brew holy water.
Okay.
And what we figure is because it's closer to God up there, that when we come down and we disperse it to people, it blesses you.
Sure.
So that's our whole point. So we need people to go to the website,
sure,
and donate like millions of dollars. And we figured we'd work with Elon Musk because he's trying to get to Mars.
Yeah.
So we'll have like a stopover on the way to Mars with our space station out there where we're going to brew holy water.
Yeah, just pool resources.
So we can give them holy water that'll bless them on their journey to Mars.
Yes, exactly. So we came up with that a while back.
Okay.
So we actually have this site set up now that people can donate to, and to build a space station.
And
it's on GoFundMe.
Yeah, but where's the balance sit on that right now?
We don't want to disclose that right now.
Right.
So just donate all you can to it.
We're not going to tell anyone.
Yeah. So
have to return it.
Everybody out there, just donate all you can to build a space station.
So you got to remember, like, the first guy that asked for a jet was $32 million,
yes,
and he got it anonymously in a couple weeks. The second guy to ask for a jet was $64 million, and he got that in less time than the first guy.
Yeah. See, what we're doing, we came up...
The eyebrow raise is exactly my thing when I read the dates and the time frames of the fact that the second guy had the balls to go out and ask for a jet.
Right. Yeah.
Twice to the first guy, and he got the money in less than time. That's ballsy.
Well, we came up with the idea because there's a couple pastors out there. Queflo Dollar, I think, was one. Queflo Dollar. Queflo Dollar. This is an actual pastor. He's Prosperity Gospel. And Prosperity Gospel is bullshit. I'm sorry. Did I say that?
Sneeze.
I had a bad sneeze. Those sneezes come out like they sound bullshit sometimes.
No, it's a bullshit sneeze.
Anyway, so he came up with an idea. And what he said was he can't fly on commercial jets. Or was it him that said that, or that other dude?
No. You're thinking of the two old white guys.
Yes.
Creflo's the one who got in trouble for asking for a private jet for $32 million. So he renounced it, and then a bunch of private donors came around.
Well, who's the crabby old white dude that wanted it? He was talking about he needed to be closer to God.
That's who it was. Kenneth Copeland said he would be on a private jet so that when he's flying, he's closer to God to talk to him.
Yes. He can't
go above commercial.
Yeah, he can't fly commercial because how can you talk to God on a commercial airline with people around? According to Kenneth Copeland, you have to be in a private jet, and this wasn't his first private jet, by the way.
Right.
He was upgrading to another private jet that was bigger and faster and everything else.
Just remember, here's the fun fact about Kenneth Copeland. Remember, he has a private jet that he flies around, and his wife talked about how, when they were on a plane once, that the weather was going to affect them, so they spoke the weather away so that they could land and not have any flight delays.
Nice.
On the plane.
Wow.
Nice. I wonder if we can talk Martians away from our space station.
Hold on. The story gets better, right? So Copeland and his wife tells the story And then Copeland talked about how he couldn't make an event because the weather grounded him.
Really? So the weather's still grounding him anyway?
No, this was a separate incident. But in one incident, he had the power to command the weather. But in a separate incident, he didn't have the power to command the weather. Right. So the question I have is, did you really want to go to that event? Because if you really wanted to go to that event, wouldn't you have just cast the weather away so that you could have flown to where you needed to be?
I would think so.
I mean, I'm just saying, it's kind of weird to me that, in one incident you can control the weather, and then in the other...
Okay, here's my question. Let's say we're up in the space station brewing holy water, and we have a meteor coming at us. Do you think we can command the meteor to change trajectory and not blow us out of the sky?
I don't know. Is your name Kenneth Copeland?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Maybe we can put like Kenneth Copeland's name or something on the side of the space station. You think that'll work?
Only if he'll donate part of the money to us.
Right.
Hey, we should talk to Kenneth Copeland. Maybe he'll donate some money to us.
He could buy some naming rights.
Yeah.
I'm down to sell part of it for some naming rights.
Let's email him tomorrow. We're going to email him our site, and let's see if he donates. We want a space station.
Let's get Creflo Dollar in on this too.
I think so too.
Yeah, and if his assistant doesn't delete it and passes it on to him, it might work.
Yeah, maybe so.
They might. Musk just took a hit on a spliff once that I don't know if he got enough weed to actually get high out of a 2-hour and 40-minute interview for about a second, and it's all people talk about.
Do you think we can get on CBN and talk about this, Mike? What do you think?
We might be able to.
I bet we can get on CBN and sit and talk about this.
I know enough
CBN
Bible.
Is, right?
No.
The Christian Broadcasting Network.
Oh.
I bet we can get on there and talk about a space station.
I don't think it's CBN. I think they're both on TBN. Trinity Broadcasting.
Oh, TBN. Okay.
No, there's two. There's CBN and TBN. You're right. There's Christian Broadcasting Network, but there's also Trinity Broadcast Network.
We got to hit them up, dude. Let's email them tomorrow.
Dude,
a donation.
You grew up in Orange County. How do you not know about TBN? It's right there off the 5 in Costa Mesa.
Like I went over there all the time, man.
I don't know. I just figured everybody knew where it was.
Oh, yeah. I hung out there all the time, man. That was where I hung out.
Yeah, it's where all the rich people
on my way back from the beach surfing, that's where I hung out.
TBN's like the equivalent in Christianity to Scientology for the rest of the world.
Dude, Scientology. Hey, don't get on that shit, man. I'm a clear. Come on.
I know.
I'm a clear.
I can see the bright light above your head glowing.
See? You probably didn't know this about me. Did you know I was involved in Scientology?
No.
Like years and years ago.
Oh, okay.
So I went through Scientology.
When it was new.
It was fairly new. When I went through it, it didn't cost you millions of dollars back then. Okay. So I went through it, and they have a level they call clear. That's like their highest level. I think they have levels beyond that now. But anyway, levels back then was the highest level. It was clear. I made it all the way to clear. So according to Scientology, I'm a clear.
Okay.
I have no idea what that means, but I'm a clear.
Either.
Yeah.
If he went back, he could pay millions of dollars to go above clear.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now it's millions of bucks to go above it.
But now he needs to be able to afford to be able to go that high.
They still call me periodically, too. They find me wherever I live.
I'm sure.
They call me, ask me to come back.
Right.
And then they always hit me up. I say no. And they go, why don't you want to come back? But you're clear. You got to come back. You're clear. And these are kids call me, right? And they're saying, but that's what I'm trying to achieve is clear. And I'm like, yeah, it's no big deal, dude. Just move on. Just quit. Just quit now. Don't give me any more money.
Right.
Dude, you're clear. You got to come back. Yeah. Doesn't work.
Just ruining their dreams.
I think so.
Right.
He is. So
it's kind of fun, actually.
That's a fatherly thing to do.
Yeah, it's a father.
Yeah,
These are boys that didn't grow up with a father, and they're trying to find Scientology as their father, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, blasphemy.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, and see, that's the sad part. Like, going back to the father, like, someone like Tim Tebow, right? Like, his parents were missionary parents. They raised him right, but for whatever reason, Tim's an asshole. So...
Yeah. But you know what? You got to wonder, too, if they're missionaries, was he there all the time, and how much were they present with him there, too? I mean, He could have been raised by nannies and whoever else that was local. We don't know. I don't know. I don't know how he was raised personally.
I don't know.
I'm speculating, but who knows? Or was he out there with them the whole time?
And if he was, it's like then I have a bunch of other biblical questions of why weren't you raising your kid in the way of Scripture? And you know what? And it's sad. Like it's not. As much as I want to blame his parents and blame Tim, I blame the church again for celebrating a man like Tim Tebow. Like,
yes,
why are you celebrating someone like that? Like you clearly can see that he is ripping people off just as bad as a prosperity preacher, but because he's not a prosperity preacher by name. Or he doesn't
Space
preach
station.
prosperity gospel. He's still a prosperity asshole.
Space station.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Tim, I will kiss your ass if you pay for our space station.
Space station.
I don't care. I'll put him in.
Hey, you know what? We'll let you come and pray on the space station.
Yeah.
Hey,
We will put a
absolutely.
camera on you 24/7 with a private room if you give us some money for a space station, Timmy. Timmy!
Or just a signed jersey.
No, I don't want to sign jersey, dude. No, I don't want to sign jersey. Screw that shit. I want the space station paid
too
for.
many of those.
You can probably find a signed jersey somewhere else,
That's
eBay.
True. That's true.
And you can find that for a lot less cost than a space station.
That's true.
And then Mike, but remember, we still got to work with Elon Musk because we got to get all the ingredients in the water up there to have it blessed up at the space station. So we still need the rocketry to get up there.
Right.
So we're going to work with Elon to get that done. We figured he'd be interested.
Well, because Elon needs to get to Mars before AI kills us all.
Yeah.
So
How old is he
him-
now? How old is Elon Musk? I have no
He's in
idea.
his 40s.
Yeah.
Like 40, what's 40s? 49?
Like 42, 43. No, I think he's in young 40s, 42, 43.
Oh, he's that young. Okay.
Yeah.
We have the internet. Why don't we ask
Quite young, yeah.
Google?
That
Yeah,
was a great
Elon
interview you were
Musk.
talking about, though. I watched it all.
Wait,
Did
Every
you watch it?
second.
It was
Elon?
so good.
JRE.
He is 47 years old, Jeff. He was born in South Africa.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is he's from South Africa, and you're watching it, and he I don't know, probably to most Americans, he seems a bit off, and I wondered if it was...
What, Elon Musk?
Yeah, is it the genius, or is it just the South African candor? I don't know.
I will say this,
combination of both.
having watched a bunch of interviews with Elon, the thing that gets missed is the fact that Joe Rogan kept him talking for 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah, he's a
This man doesn't
point
talk.
person.
Yeah.
Very
This man
analytical,
really,
then.
question, answer in fewest words possible, and Joe had him talking for 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah, and he
Like-
did not smoke that.
No.
No.
He took a puff.
He
I don't
acted
even
no
think-
different. He acted less weird.
Is that Elon or Joe?
You gotta watch that episode. It was great.
Yeah. So Joe even asked him, he's like, so have you ever smoked weed or anything? He's like, yeah, I don't really like it. And he's like, why? He's like, it makes me less productive.
Yeah.
He's like, people who
I
smoke
can see
weed
him
are less
saying that.
productive, so I don't really like it for that reason.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
this
man,
is
beer's hitting me.
yeah, it's crazy. Like he doesn't even like the stuff. He takes a puff,
Yeah.
and it's a spliff, right? Like Joe even says, it's tobacco and weed. It's not even a full
Right.
weed cigarette. Like it's not. He calls it a joint. It's a spliff. Come on, let's be real. And he takes a puff. He doesn't even inhale. And all people talk about. He talked about everything from Mars to cars
Yeah.
to he has ideas about planes to redo aircraft so that it's more efficient.
Well, the guy's a
But he's
genius. I mean, he is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He explains climate change in a way that I actually would agree with him, and not in the doom and gloom way that politicians talk about it.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
everything he talked about, you're just like, you're
Well, that's
too
the
smart
thing. We
for
were
your own
just-
good.
Yes. I don't know. I don't go off on a tangent, but yeah, he does talk about climate change in a weird way that makes sense. It's just,
Yeah.
you shouldn't. Just like the rain, how we were talking earlier, messing up water supply.
Yeah.
If you just bury something in the soil, it's going
Yeah.
to take quite a while to get to the water table, like
Right.
a century or way more.
Right,
yeah,
and he
so
talks
taking
about the
something-
timeline in a way that actually makes sense.
Yeah,
from what
well,
I-
taking
like,
something from the ground and putting it in the sky in a day versus thousands of years or whatever.
right.
Yeah, that makes a little sense to me. But anyway, that's just something. On
But
the
he
side.
also understands the markets. Like he gets like, if we're going to change the car system, it's going to take 20 years before
Absolutely.
we see any effect.
Yeah.
Because he's like, he looked at Joe and he's like, And Joe's like, what do you mean 20 years? He's like, how long does the average car last on the road? And he's like, what do you mean? He's like, the average car that's sold will last 21 years.
All right.
Which is crazy, but it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So about 21 years. So he's like, it's going to take 20 years before. So if you went all electric today, you're not going to see that on the road for 21 years.
Yeah.
Because you need to let all the gas cars get off the road.
Yeah,
so he's like,
you
have to do it today. Like, or you got to do it soon so that you can change it. And so, but he brings up all these actual valid points and actually good market-based economic principles into future technology. He answered Joe's question about flying cars the same way that Neil Tyson deGrasse did, which is they're giant helicopters. Yeah. Can you imagine a helicopter landing in your neighbor's front yard
with wheels?
You don't want that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, you got to listen to that. Seriously.
Yeah, I'd recommend it. Like, there's already been more people listen to that thing than anything. But it's a really good interview. Like, he talks about AI. His fears have come down on it. Sam Harris still talks about how scary AI is.
I don't think it's scary.
Well, so I'll give you the point that hit me when Sam talked about it. So Sam talked about AI, and this is where Musk's head used to be, and probably still is, but he doesn't want to admit it. So Joe asked Sam, he's like, what scares you about AI? He's like, okay, let's run a computer simulation. Fix climate change to AI, right? And AI is everywhere. Okay, how do you fix climate change if you're a computer system? What's the number one problem for climate change?
People.
Politics.
Yep. People. So according to AI, if you say fix climate change, what's the easiest solution for AI?
Eliminate people.
Eliminate the emission.
Yeah.
It eliminates people.
Right.
He's like, and then you go through a list of problems that you have in society, and the major cause of all those problems is people. So you start telling you could build all the fail-safes you want, but the problem with all the fail-safes that you're going to build, eventually the computer, because it's taught to grow, it's going to start to see that the root cause of the majority of problems are people. It's going to override its fail-safe for the betterment of everything, and it's going to get destroying for all people.
What?
It was a door.
What?
Somebody tried to open the door, I think. Yeah, you didn't hear that? Somebody tried to open up the door where we're at.
Ooh,
yeah.
Spooky.
Yeah, we're like underground, like 60 feet. So nobody can find us.
Oh, is George Norrie Art Bell up there? Well, Art Bell just passed, so maybe his ghost. But is George Norrie up there with you?
I don't know, man. We just said somebody tried to open the door where we're at. We're in a silent secret. Yeah, we did, actually. Somebody tried to open that door, dude.
I think Jeff's just trying to freak you out. Well, hey, we're going, guys. We're almost an hour and a half. So
yeah, let's rate this beer, this no-lee beer. Okay, what are you rating? You're rating Blue Moon.
Blue Moon.
Oh, you didn't even finish, dude? So we've been here for an hour and a half, bullshitting, and you can't drink 2 beers in an hour and a half. How about you? You done?
Yep.
Yeah, we're done, dude.
Let's see. You guys shared big bottles.
That was a big bottle. That was like 2 beers right there.
Bullshit. Damn, that sneeze carried all the way to Vegas.
Damn. So we got no lie beer here. So you can't lie during this beer because there's no lie.
Right.
So we drank 2 beers.
In there for you.
And let's see, no lie. I'm gonna give this one. This is an amber ale, like I said. I'm not gonna rate it actually as high as that other one. I'm gonna give this one like 1 1/4.
Wow.
Yeah. It's good. It's good for a local beer.
It's a
local brewery.
I think it 1 1/4 too.
1 1/4. So this one got 1 1/4 from both of us.
Cool. So Blue Moon, I'm gonna go 1 1/2.
Really, dude?
Yeah, it's a good beer. Like I know it's a mass-produced beer.
Did you put your orange slice on top of it and wear your man bun with a beanie?
I didn't put any fruit in my beer.
Okay.
Comes with an orange.
We had to check.
All right.
Because it is Blue Moon.
Listen, I'll hand you my man card when you get back if you really, really want it.
That's all right. That's all right. I don't need to see your man card.
All right.
So, all right, guys. Let's kind of close this out here. We forgot to do the applause before the beer thing. We do an applause.
All right.
Yeah. And we don't have the intro video, do we? So
no. You know what? I have it, but it wasn't playing right. So I got it, but it just didn't play right, so I didn't bother with it.
Yeah. Well, we got it on YouTube, so everyone can just go watch it over and over and over again.
They can view it if they want. Okay.
Yeah, the fact that Trump and Hillary are sharing a beer is just kind of funny.
We've got, you can see this under here. We've got, you can view us on Facebook, YouTube, Patreon.
Yeah.
You can give money on Patreon. We'll build our space station there and kind of do that. Or go to, I still got to put the link up. Well, the link up. Watch for the link, everybody. I've been putting it up on the site on YouTube. The link for
the GoFundMe page,
the space station.
Oh, it's a real thing, man. We got a full page ready to go.
Yes, so we're on there.
So when those donations come in, we're going.
Yeah, we're gonna do a full page ad. We're gonna send that to Kenneth Copeland and Queflo Dollar or Queflo or whatever the hell his name is now.
Yeah, we'll try and get some money.
Yeah,
some naming rights.
Money.
We'll sell him some naming rights. We'll be good.
Yeah. Right. Hey, we can give him a couple little bit of holy water from the first batch.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because it's blessed holy water. So.
Oh yeah.
It's higher than his damn jet flying around, so it's got to be better.
Yeah,
this is true.
So
BPA free bottle.
Is that BPA free bottle or BPA?
Absolutely. We're closer to the sun. We got to make sure.
Yeah.
So
important.
But anyway, guys, I want to say ciao from a secret location, 60 feet underground here in the northwest somewhere.
In South Dakota.
In South Dakota, North Dakota.
Middle of nowhere.
We're underneath a fracking facility. We're waiting for the water to come in and flood us pretty soon.
Oh my gosh. At least, hey, once you light it on fire, it'll all evaporate, and then you have some more oxygen in there. So
hey, we'll be all right. We'll survive somehow.
So, but David, I want to thank you for joining the show.
Yeah, it was fun. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
So,
all right, everybody out there.
Fatherhood thing for a while, so.
Cool. I'm going to close out. Everybody out there, have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your week. And we will talk to you later. You want to say anything, Mike, before we go?
No, we're good. Just make it a fun week. Make it good. Do something nice for somebody. Find somebody who you hate and do something nice for them. Buy them a coffee.
That's a good idea, actually.
Just do something nice for somebody you hate.
I like that.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, brother.
Accepted.
All right, guys.
Have a good night.
Peace. Bye.